3, 2, 1, go. Like I said, I'm always making changes, and I don't know, for some reason there's just something missing about this character for me. There's just something missing. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is yet. So I'm just going to experiment a little bit, and if you want to hang out and just see what I do to experiment. I'm getting so sick of this nose poking through, so I'm just going to trim this with the lasso. I don't know if I need more clay here. How crazy does that look? It's not my intention for it to look really crazy, but if I can drag this nose up a bit in the middle. Drag is super useful for like little things like this. I wonder if I could actually pull, really get this nose going like on the side, like a cat's nose would be. It's kind of interesting. Cats' noses, I think they come to a point, I think, even. That looks weird too. I don't know what it is. I think I just need a more simple nose. And I was kind of doing this on the tutorial. Actually, I should have got that color was actually good. I liked the color of that nose. We'll just do something similar. Go ahead and validate it. Validate it. I really need to update the, not update, I really need to edit this down. So it's actually good that I'm recording this part as well, because in the edit it'll probably look a little different. So it's good that I'm editing this. Let's flatten it. So this is like exactly how I did the other nose. But I think he might need just like a smaller nose. And also, I don't know if I actually like this puffing out so much. So let's flatten it a bit. So I'm just flattening it down, so it's not so much of a. But I think that this is something that I really like to do, is really spend time and go through. And that's the one thing that I can't do in the tutorials. A lot of people get upset because I change my mind and stuff like that. But that's like, for me, that's what makes, that's like the fun part of creating, and, you know, creating things that are cool and that I really like. I have to spend time, lots of time, refining and refining and refining. It doesn't just come easy. You have to take that time to really refine whatever you're working on. I don't know if I want the nose to actually be flat, but I want to see what it would look like. It's not bad. Let's use, we'll use layer. Let's see how crease looks. It's kind of cute. It's kind of simple but cute. I think I might like it better. There was something else that was bugging me, and I think it's because he has so much like cheek and jaw or something. I don't know. There's just something about it that kind of bugs me. So I'm just kind of like trying to figure out how I want to even go about it. He might just need a little more face shape. And of course, these shapes are together, so it's going to pull up the arms and stuff like that, but no. I do like that face shape, but let's see. What happens if we squeeze in the side of his face like that? And maybe just try to push in a little bit here. Okay, so maybe let's see what happens if I try to thin down the face a little bit underneath by using flatten. So with flatten, I'm just trying to define like the side of the face. And sometimes even just that like definition can sort of make it look a little bit more appealing. I kind of like that. It kind of makes his face, it's still round, but it just gives it like a little shape. Let's see if we try to add a little chin or something. Nah. Okay, let's see what else we can do here. So sometimes I like to flatten. I like to flatten that. Okay, kind of like this a little bit better. I like his shape. Part of me wishes the mouth was open a little bit wider, but that could just be because I like to do that in all my characters. Let's see what happens if his nose is a little bit smaller. I think I liked the size. I think I like this size. Let's see what happens if it's a little bigger. It's too big. Too big. Okay. Let's see what happens if we drag up the sides of this mouth a little bit more. He looks way happier. What we're seeing here is the eyes. So we can probably just trim that with lasso. And I want to see with crease and sub, I want to see if we define this bottom lip a little bit more. I want to see what that'll look like. Let's flatten underneath it so it's like less round. Or I should say less of a protrusion. I do like that. Okay, let's let me look at the front. He's not looking the only thing is he's not looking forward at all. So it looks fine from the side. It looks fine from like any sort of upper view. But then straight on, he is looking up. But the eyes I made so big that I don't think I can change it now without like drastically changing the face. I would have had to take the head. Honestly, I could reapply the head. I could trim it and reapply it, but that's a lot. Also, if I print it, it's kind of nice that it's looking up. Because when you print things, they're small, and if it's on a desk, it'll look like it's not. So this is actually good for print, if I'm honest with you. If I'm honest. All right. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I did kind of want to experiment with taking the eyes. I'm just going to save it since I like this better. Taking the eyes and cloning it and then making this lids. So for lids, usually I just do pivot, center, pivot. It's easier to work on just one lid, so I'm gonna get rid of one of them. So I have to make sure I'm not on symmetry. Even though you can't really see it, I'm gonna get rid of one lid. So now this lid is just one. So I can do pivot, gizmo, pivot, center, and it'll go to just this one lid. Center, pivot. So now I can work with it as just one lid. It's a lot easier. I can just bring it straight out, maybe even up. So that's gonna pretend it's like the lid. So then I'll go to the front, or actually I'll just kind of angle it how I want it. I kind of want the lid to be on the bottom, maybe a cross section like that. So I'll just use trim, and maybe we'll use polygon since I don't use it that much. So with polygon, it kind of works like the tube tool. I have to just stretch it. So really all I'm thinking of is how I want this bottom part to be, because that's the lid that I want. The rest I'm just going to cut out. Everything in this white I'm going to cut out. So maybe something like that. So we'll just trim it. Okay, we trimmed it. Okay, we trimmed it. Thank you. Polygon tool is trying to be extra. So then I'll use the eyedropper and get this color. We're still selected on that. We'll paint it. And you can voxel remesh it, or else it'll just be too soft to work with. So I'll do 170. So pivot is still in the original pivot point, but now I'm going to hit center and pivot, so just centers around the piece that we have now cut. And then I'll position it here. Maybe even tilt it a little bit. I kind of want to bake it. I think if I bake it, it'll even out this the gizmo. So if I bake it and then I go pivot, center, pivot. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. Kind of bakes in that position. So I actually want to just move it now. Manually move it kind of into place. So I want that to get a little smaller. I don't mind that being wide because the pupil is very thick. This I don't like. I want it to be round, so I'm going to use drag. Because if I use move, it'll move too much of the lid. I really just want it to be round. And this bottom is an issue as well. Maybe move is better for that. So it's a smoother transition. It's a smoother movement. Okay, I like that. Let's smooth out. Make sure smooth shading. Okay. I remember in the tutorial, I turned it off, so I'm always like worried that I'm forgetting to turn it back on. Okay, it actually looks all right. He might actually be able to use a little more cheek too. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Cheeks are so tricky. Because they can really work and really make a smile look good, or it can like not. It can quickly do the opposite. I think I like that. So let's go ahead and let's make sure we're on world. The lid, let's add a mirror. So now we have it on the other side, and we can kind of look, see what we think. We can still adjust it too. Just squeeze it, maybe try to make it a little smaller. I don't know, do we like the lids? I think I like the lids. Let's see without. Maybe it's better without. I think it's better without. Let's do a quick comparison. Let's just validate the lids. I wish they didn't ghost. There Yeah, I think it looks better without them. Okay, so I'm gonna bring him over into Blender. And I just want to make sure that I don't want the face to be wider. It's my only point of contention. I think his face might just be too thin. I don't know. I also don't want the area around the eyes to get bigger. I think I just want maybe where the cheeks are to be a little bit bigger. Maybe that's good. Okay. Okay, do we want to do any more paint work? I think we could elevate him a little bit if we did some paint work. So let's see, his body's 196K. So if I was going to paint him, I would take this pink and I would make it lighter. I don't know how to paint in what's the app? In Blender, so I'm kind of stuck painting here. Actually, how bright is this? Oh, it looks okay. I think I'm going to lower the backdrop. Okay, so we can do this one. It's easier if symmetry is on, so you don't have to do it twice. Okay, so we'll give him some paint here. Paint actually looks pretty good. Oh, oh, oh no. I have to undo it. I meant to do layer. I must have just not added it. This is going to be lighter. It's better to just do it on a layer because it just always is. Even if it means doing it again. Okay. Nice. So now we have that. And then for the we can do something like this. Okay, maybe something like that I think is pretty cute. Paint looks pretty good. Sometimes I like to add a little bit of designs on the back. I don't know about those designs. I don't know. I like to do some random designs on the back, even if they never get seen. I know that. Also, his little round fingers, which actually could be maybe a little bit more round. If we smooth them a little bit, they might look cuter if they're just like a little smaller. And then we'll take paint. Oh, I shouldn't have done I should have made it smaller on the base, but that's okay. So we'll take paint and we'll go and we'll make the inside palms. Make sure to check if symmetry is on. Symmetry is a rascal. It likes to just turn off randomly sometimes. And actually, I'm going to change this back to opaque, because you can see the paint better if it's in opaque. I gotta reposition myself. Okay, it looks pretty good. I kind of wish that it was a little more smooth. I don't know if I can smooth the base. Let's save. See what happens if we voxel remesh this. Maybe at like 400. It's pretty smooth. Fingers look pretty smooth. Some of these areas need smoothing. These cheeks. Okay, that's a shadow. Okay, it looks good. But things like little details you really notice in Blender, so I'm very careful to, make sure things are smooth. So now just the color is not as smooth. See those little ripples in the fingers? I want all those to be smooth. Gotta keep my guy looking clean. Okay. All right. So as far as the fingers go, I might be able to, it's really high now, too high, but I just want to see if I can fix the paint now. If I go to lighter, paint is, it's all right. It's not great. I think I would have to turn on dynamic topology if I wanted it to be really clean. The only problem is then the size of this is getting bigger and bigger. So that's the only issue. But it looks good. But oh well. The whole thing is visual, so, you know, sometimes I don't mind sacrificing bigger size. I'll bring it into Blender. We'll see what we can do with him. Might as well make him look good. Excuse my sniffles. I can probably erase too, but I think it's the same amount of manipulation to the vertices. I did notice that I'm going to turn dynamic topology off. I did notice that this needs some paint here. Make sure I'm checking the back too. Sometimes the paint likes to go through the mesh to the other side and just be super annoying. Do I want to do it with the eyes as well? I might as well. Okay, this might actually look better than these, if I'm honest. Let's hide these. Maybe we only need this. Let's do some erasing. Okay, let's turn off erase, turn off this, and just kind of clean up inside here. And maybe we'll paint inside the ears, perhaps. That looks so clean, even without any special. It's kind of hard to see the ears, but that actually looks good. I like it. Maybe we'll do like that instead. Okay. Okay, the color of this nose. Kind of like that. It's a little lighter. Excuse me. And there's one thing else I want to try out for this paint. Make sure we're on lighter. I'm going to grab this paint color again. And I want to see if I was to bring this out more, how that would look. what if just a little bit? Okay, so I think I like the original better, but I want to see if I use this this area of the sort of shape of the head, if that makes any difference. Kind of going along the contour. I think it's fine. If we just had some other sometimes I think it's interesting to kind of play around with some markings or something. Kind of cool, but not really needed, but kind of cool. Kind of like it. I mean, tigers have, you know, things like this. Why can't this little character? Okay. So maybe we'll take a little bit of the darker pink again and use crease. So we're using crease with the color. And oh, do I want dynamic topology? I don't want sub with crease. I just want regular crease. Let's see what happens if I use dynamic topology. Actually, I'm going to turn it off. And I want to turn off symmetry. Okay. I need a new chair, I think. Okay. This looks good. He has some designs on him, which I like. Ooh, you know what we should do? Let's take this and let's give him some, maybe some white on his ear tips. I turn symmetry off. I guess it doesn't really have to be symmetrical, but I like the white ear tips. And also, do we want to give him some creases in his little toes? I didn't mean to do the white down there, but it actually looks good. Let's make this one a little... Oh. Yeah, I like it. All right, so let's paint the inside of the mouth. So we're on the body. Let's add a new one and do inside mouth for the layer. Make sure I save. And we want to do a darker color like this. We want to bring the roughness up. We don't want any light bouncing around. So this is actually on top of this pink. So, oops, I didn't mean to do crease. Okay, so now we'll just kind of fill in all the rest. If only painting in real life was this easy. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I don't think I need dynamic topology, but I do want to make it smaller so I can sort of just clean up some of this. Okay, maybe we can even go a little bit darker for the very back behind the tongue. And then just use, you can take the smooth tool and turn the intensity all the way down. I'm going to disable dynamic topology because we don't need it anymore, so I'm just going to turn that off. But you can take smooth and lower the intensity all the way down, and you can actually clone it, turn the intensity down, and then save it, and you'll have what I call smoothie poo. And it just kind of smooths out the color. It doesn't always work on a very high-res mesh, but the back of the mouth, like parts of the mesh that are softer, if the color is there, it'll work. Okay. All right, that looks good. So there are some paint issues with lighter, so I'm going to go back to that color. Go back to paint. Like there. I saw some issues where the paint was a little bit lacking. I just want to make sure I get those fixed up. Why does the tongue looks like it has... Oh, I think it's a shadow. It's a shadow. And maybe the tongue should be the same color as this. That's much better. Okay, so let's take the eye and we'll take the eye color, which is just white, but we want to make it sort of brownish. And symmetry's on. So now we'll just make like a little shadow here. Make one on the bottom too. And then take that same smooth tool for the color and just kind of smooth it out. So this is like how you kind of fake ambient occlusion. So it's a little light. You can always lower it here. You can lower the opacity of the layer if you don't want it as dark. That's what I meant, it's a little dark. So I'll lower it just a smidge. And I'm actually gonna add another layer, and I'm gonna do just this top part a little bit darker, right underneath this eyelash. I want that part to be a little darker, and then I'm gonna really gently try to go along the edge so that that part remains fairly dark. Maybe I'll lighten it up a smidge. And then I'm just going to join these two layers. Okay, so that's good for the eye. I might as well just join it and just have the eye. The eye. For the nose, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a layer, and then I'm going to grab the nose color, and I'm going to make it darker. And the darker areas, which would be like in the nostril, his little nostrils. And let's see if we can smooth this. That looks good. Nice. So that looks good. I'm just going to bring it down. Could also do it on the teeth. Grab the color of the teeth and then make it a little bit darker. Add a layer. And then use paint, and then just paint like, you know, where they meet. I'll do the top and the bottom. Might even go a little bit darker right along the edge. Okay, hopefully this doesn't take... Well, these teeth are actually quite large, size-wise. But that's a nice, smooth... Looks good. It's like subtle, but it's there, which is what you want. Nice. Okay, I think I'm good. And there is some other details you can do, like if I add another layer to the body, you can kind of do this all day long. You can take this color, make it a smidge darker, and you can kind of do it around the eyes. And then you can smooth it out a little bit. It's a little light. I'll make it a little darker. You can maybe do it around the nose. Maybe it's even a little bit darker under here. So it's a little bit darker under the nose. It makes sense, right? I don't really see many creases, but you can also make it darker, like in creases, sort of like we did with the little belly button swirl. Okay, I think this looks good. I'm going to save. 1.26 million. Damn. But I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to lower these. I'm going to make it all just the shapes. Eye dots we got rid of. Body, floor. Floor we can get rid of. I'm going to get rid of these lights. I'm going to get rid of these cameras. So now he's ready to go over to Blender. Let me just take a look at all these again. I'm going to take a look at these numbers. Teeth are quite big, so I can probably decimate those. Nose is not that big. The body's big, but I think it's worth it to keep the body like that. Actually, I'm going to keep the teeth like that as well and just send it. So I'm going to export this as a GLTF. I don't think the normals matter, but I'm going to send them anyway. So I'll export this to my computer and we'll pop this open in Blender. We are in Blender. I'm going to open my backdrop that I always use in Blender because I have my lights and everything set up. So I'm going to keep it simple. Oh, I changed a little around. I made this guy kind of glowing. And I fixed up my lights a little bit. So I would just have less work to do when I bring files in. So we're going to import this GLTF, downloads, noob. So we'll bring him in. Remember I was saying about the horizon line. So he should be pretty much on ground level. So that looks good. His head is so big. I might have to move the camera for this guy. But he looks pretty good. So now that I have all of these shapes already selected, let's add this. And let's call this Pinky. And we'll select everything again. If the computer will help me, there we go. We'll bring everything in there. So now we have everything. I can just select them using this. So the first thing I do is, oops, go away. I'm going to select everything, hit 1, zoom in a bit. It looks like his feet are a good level for the floor, but I want to move. I'm going to press Control period. I'm on a Mac, by the way. Control period gives me the option to change the pivot. What are you doing? Oh, it's just being slow. I want to line up this red arrow with the horizon line. Back in, it's close enough. Let's make him a little bigger. Okay. And I don't know, do we want to do a rotation at all? He does look cute from this angle. But what is he looking at? He needs to be looking at something interesting. So I wonder if I have another little character or something that could be floating. Let's put this little guy on the side of him. Let's move him out just so you can see his little leaves. I like that. I also want to move the camera a bit to get more of a view of he just looks better from like a higher angle. So I want to make sure that it's from a little bit of a higher angle. Okay, let me make sure I'm getting the whole screen. Let's maybe move the camera this way. Okay, so what can he be looking at? I'm going to save this as, since it's not my, I don't even know how I'm doing that. Okay, so this will be pinky. So I'll just save it so that way I can just come right back to it if I need to. So that looks good, but what can he be looking at? Oh, let's go ahead and adjust the let's adjust the texture. So we're going to bring up his roughness a bit. So he's nice and rough. These eyes can be glossy. These eyes can be glossy. So we'll take the roughness out. Up the roughness for the eyebrows. Teeth can be glossy. The nose can be a little glossy, but not too much. Okay, I like that. I'm going to save. I gotta check on these feet. Oh, the front parts don't look like they're not touching. So I'm gonna select all and just bring him down a little bit just to get those front toes. Otherwise, he'll look like he's sort of floating. A little bit. That should be good. Okay. All right. I like this camera view. So, I'm just going to take this camera and Command C, Command V. I hate that it doesn't move them in the same thing, but that's okay. So now we have this new camera that I want to set as the active camera. And I just want to see what it looks like. Let's do perspective. I just want to see what it looked like from a different angle. Let's do by local. Now it's a little tricky because I don't want it to really be that. It kind of annoys me because the perspective is so incredibly fisheye that it is a bit annoying. I don't really like the fisheye, that it's so fisheye. But if I do orthographic, sometimes it's a little hard to. Well, I guess I'll just have to use this instead. It's pretty cute, actually. It still doesn't quite look like it's looking at camera. That would be looking at camera. Which is pretty cute still. I think I like it. I think the lighting and everything looks pretty good. I don't really see. Oh, you know why? Because I tilted it a little bit. So I was thinking I don't really see this light that much, which would be behind him. seeing him a little bit there. Oh, it's super bright. Bring it down to like 2000. Oh, but actually, you know what? I'm going to turn this light off. I want to turn that light off because I want to include the light from the little orange thing, which I think is this light. Yeah. Really just pump up the brightness coming from that light. It's pretty cute. Let's see, maybe the floor. I don't like this. I can see the reflection of something in the floor. Unfortunately, I don't know what light that is. Multiple importance can take that away, but I can't really tell. I think it's gone. It's hard to tell. I think it's gone. So I think I like both of those views. I like this view and I like the other view. It might be nice to maybe we'll make 2 of these. Let's see if I can duplicate the whole thing. Oh yeah, it worked. There's like such simple things and I really just don't know how to do them. Come on, come out. There we go. There's another one over here. What if it was a little smaller? I think that's pretty cute. Can move the camera down a little bit maybe. Okay, I think I like it. There's a nice room for a title over here. So I'm going to save and I'm going to render this image. So let's make sure my settings are looking good. 1500 is good. My output settings. Color depth 8/16. It always feels like 16 would be better, but I really don't know. Let's do 16. Let's go crazy. So let's render this and then we'll see how it looks. Oh, the teeth. Did I want to do subsurface for the teeth? I think they're okay. I'm just going to render it. Okay, so this will probably take a while, so we'll come back. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top
teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.